Learn how to decide if a meeting is really required and how to prepare the most effective agenda. We will understand meeting protocol and how to cope with those who try to get into irrelevant discussions. And we will create action plans at the conclusion of the meeting and involve participants to monitor and complete them. Here's some background. Most managers complain that there are too many meetings to attend. In fact, some managers spend about half of their time sitting in meetings. If you talk to anyone who is taking or has taken a time management seminar, they'll tell you that meetings are the single biggest time waster in their work worlds. Peter Drucker, the management guru, says you can work and you can meet. You can't do both at the same time. He says that if a manager is spending more than 25% of their time in meetings, it is a sign of malorganization. Let's look at the reasons or attributes of bad meetings. 1. Lack of preparation. No sense of direction. Total lack of control. An inability to state the purpose of the meeting. A failure to get down to work in the meeting. No clear idea of what attendees were supposed to do. No formal agenda. No record or minutes kept. No action plan produced. 2. Too many meetings. Most managers consider it a point of honor to dislike meetings, especially those called by someone else. Some organizations have meetings scheduled at a specific time every Monday or whatever day. If you were to ask why, the standard response is, because we always meet on Monday. Ask them something like, what if the group has nothing to discuss or decide? And you get, we won't know that if we don't meet. And 3, when in doubt, hold a meeting. You know this one. A new product or new policy is coming in. Let's hold a meeting. This is a perfect smokescreen for inactivity and masking individual responsibility. Reasons to hold meetings. Meetings are very useful managerial tools when they're held for the purpose of getting out information. You simultaneously select your audience and have the opportunity for on-the-spot questions and comments. If you send a memo containing the same information, it could be lengthy, subject to misinterpretation, and fodder for the rumor mill. Things like half-truths will sometimes reach others in the grapevine before the actual memo is received. 2. Demonstrating and modeling. The cooperative, interdependent work relations that you want to foster in the company can develop from a meeting. For example, someone from administration may work better with someone from accounting, because the two of them participated in the meeting where their ideas were encouraged and accepted. It breaks down the walls and opens up communication. And 3, gathering and sharing input. This is necessary for decision making. Input can be collected from memos, but a great deal of paper will be used in most of these situations. For example, Mary may not be able to speak definitely about her data until she knows what Deborah plans to do about hiring, which could depend upon budget figures from Susan, etc. These connections can be made quickly and naturally in a meeting and save a lot of time and paper. You will never see it on any agenda, but meetings are also a forum in which you are appraised by the management group that you work with and for. A meeting group reinforces itself. It is an assembly of a clan of sorts, and attendees are reassured that they are on the team. Here's a tip. A good idea is to post meeting rules in the boardroom and/or issue a copy of meeting rules with the agenda if you distribute it ahead of time, which you should do. The standard is Robert's Rules of Order. Many organizations post meeting rules as a matter of policy, and everyone must comply. Boeing Canada is one such company. Types of meetings. There are basically 2 types of meetings. The mission meeting, for one. At least half of all business meetings are called with a mission in mind, to make a decision, solve a problem, or to formulate a policy. There are certain rules to keep in mind when you are involved in a mission meeting. Speak up when you have information that matters to the mission. Listen to information that may affect you. Stand back when others have to do their jobs. Lend a hand when it's time to act together, and stay alert. When you are preparing for a mission meeting, use the following checklist. 1. Is it a real problem? Suppose a meeting is called to discuss the problem of the number of trade union grievances being processed in your area. Is this known to be a real problem? Can any conclusions be drawn about the volume of union complaint? If so, what can be done about it anyway? Is it not possible the real problem exists in another functional area? Supervisory training in the handling of people, for example. Get to the root cause. 2. Is it urgent? A meeting may be called to discuss a shortage of materials. Why now? Is this an urgent situation that has suddenly developed, or is it a long-standing disease that might be better solved by long-term training of the purchasing staff? Is the true nature of the problem known? 3. Are the facts right? Are sufficient facts known about the situation to be able to identify it as a real stated problem that will be solved by a group? 4. Is it specific? Is there a specific problem, or is it simply a question of what is our problem? Can terms be closely confined in order to discuss one thing only? If people talk about everything, they will eventually talk about nothing. And 5. Has the group most competent to discuss the problem been invited, and is each participant concerned about arriving at a decision? The 5 minutes it takes a meeting leader to think through these questions will prevent the ultimate business embarrassment, calling an emergency meeting only to discover in the meeting that there's no emergency. 2 is the process meeting. The other half of all business meetings concern themselves with more of the process of managing information and people than the product of management in the form of specific action or decisions. Process meetings include the information meeting. Here, information can flow down from management, up from work units, and across from unit to unit. Presentations are common at such meetings, as are question and answer sessions. The team building meetings. In these meetings, content takes a back seat to conduct. Meeting leaders and participants demonstrate by example, in buzz groups and panels, their strong desire to work as a team. The transition meeting. During times of change, the culture of a company undergoes stress, and even crisis. Meetings can bring together both those causing the change and those affected by it. The orientation meeting. These meetings aren't simply for new employees. Many regular staff meetings can be considered orientation meetings. There, employees learn who's who and what's what. Status responsibility levels are assigned, changed, and reinforced. Praise and blame are distributed. The agenda. The well thought out and organized agenda is the written game plan that will help ensure a successful meeting. It is the script that will be followed. It should be given to all who are coming well before the meeting to inform and give participants ample opportunity to prepare. The meeting agenda should include the following. Purpose or problem to solve. If you are the caller, you should always describe the purpose or problem for which the meeting was called. Remember, you may not be able to describe the entire situation in your agenda, but it should be clear why you are meeting. When and where. Stipulate the exact time that the meeting will begin and the exact location. Always try to begin your meetings on time. Once your style has been established, people won't walk in late. Who is coming? You should issue a list of all your meeting attendees along with their title. You need the people who are the most competent to provide information about the meeting subject and help solve whatever problems there are. Contribution. Your agenda should identify what presentations will be delivered and by whom. Stop time. Identify it and, as in the start time, keep to it. We've actually been told that employees at all levels give high marks to any meeting leader who can end a meeting on time. Please refer to the handout for this module titled XYZ Company Meeting Agenda. It is an example of an agenda for Company XYZ for a meeting called by VP of HR to introduce a new health insurance program and develop an implementation strategy. Minutes. It is strongly recommended that minutes be kept of each meeting. They serve as concrete proof of what took place at the meeting. In ISO 9000 terminology, they are objective evidence of what took place and should be kept by the recording secretary. Minutes should be given out to participants as quickly after the meeting as possible. Any actions required should be noted, and the participants given action plans to work from. How many times have you been to a meeting, and as attendees are going over the last meeting, someone says, "I didn't agree to do that"? Who said that? What did we decide on that? I told you to. By keeping clear, concise minutes, all these questions can be answered and meetings made much more effective. Minutes can also serve to inform those who didn't make it to the meeting. Depending on your needs and the type of meeting, the minutes should contain 1. Name of the organization. 2. Time, date, and place of meeting. 3. Purpose of meeting. 4. Persons attending. 5. Topics covered, a brief description of who brought up what topic and what was said. 6. Any action items with descriptions of who is to do what and when. And 7. Time of adjournment and next meeting date if applicable. Make sure that everyone invited to the meeting gets a copy of the minutes as soon as possible. Always bring along a couple of copies at the last minute's meetings to distribute to those who have forgotten or lost theirs. Include the reading and approval of minutes into the agenda of the meeting. This will serve as a historical record of what took place at your meeting and what decisions were made and actions required. If any votes were taken, the name and those in favor or against should be recorded. There are 2 incidents where it is mandatory for meetings to be kept: ISO 9000 meetings and health and safety meetings. They can prove legal positions and be used as evidence during investigations. They can also be used in disciplinary matters where documented proof of discipline being administered is required. Participants' role in meeting. We have been discussing how to lead effective meetings, but as a participant, make sure you are prepared with all the information, statistics, etc. to participate and have input to the discussion and solution. If the agenda or topic isn't really clear, or the topic is only listed but no detail is provided, you can do a little investigating on your own. Find out what the meeting leader wants to accomplish in the meeting. Your boss, for example, may want to find out who opposes a certain project. Ask the meeting leader what he or she thinks will come out of the meeting. If your boss likes to manage by mystery, you may ask, "We're getting ready for our meeting tomorrow. Is there anything you'd like us to think about?" Give the meeting leader or their secretary the opportunity to hint at any secret agenda. You're not paranoid if you believe that most meetings have hidden agendas. Six secrets for a successful meeting. 1. The right reasons. There are 2 very good reasons to have a meeting. The first is to share information, and the second is to solve problems. Information sharing meetings should be held when you want to A. Explain a plan or program, ensuring that everyone shares information in the same way. B. Tell people what to do and how to do it, and how their job fits into the big picture. C. Report what has been accomplished and perhaps plan what is left to do. And D. Win support or approval for an idea. Problem-solving meetings should be held when you A. Need to define or solve a problem by bringing together key players who may hold important pieces to the solution, or B. Need consensus or a decision that has to be made. 2. The right people. The people you want in your meeting are those who need to know certain information or who can make a contribution. They should A. Have solid knowledge of the business at hand, B. Have the power to make a decision, C. Be responsible for implementing any decision or carrying a project to the next step, D. Represent a group that will be affected by a decision made at the meeting. 3. The right room. Every meeting room speaks to the people who enter it. Have you ever walked into a conference room and felt like you stepped aboard a subway at rush hour? Or been to a sales presentation in a ballroom where only 9 customers showed up? Size is important. Large auditoriums tell people to sit back and listen, while small conference rooms ask for participation and teamwork. When a room is too small, people are uncomfortable and become unproductive. When a room is too large, they tend to sit far apart, inhibiting discussion. 4. The right equipment. A. The equipment has to be compatible for the kind of visual aids you have. B. It has to be there. And C. It has to work. Get your equipment early so you can rehearse your presentation on the equipment you'll be using. Learn how to troubleshoot simple problems. 5. The right visuals. People retain only 10% of what they hear, but 50% of what they hear and see. Photographs, technical drawings, and cartoons help the audience grasp important details, relationships, and concepts. Copies of advertisements and articles lend credibility to a presentation if they can be seen from the back of the room. And finally, 6. The right skills. As a meeting leader, you have 3 important responsibilities. 1. To guide the participants through the meeting in a way that will accomplish its purpose. 2. To encourage participation. And 3. To keep the meeting on track and on time. Tips for a meeting leader. Before the meeting, plan and prepare the content. Make up and distribute the agenda, and check out the room and the equipment. At the start of the meeting, review the agenda and objectives, and explain what role the participants have in the meeting. Don't let discussions wander off track or let one person dominate the meeting. Gently guide discussion back to the stated topic or suggest that another meeting be held to discuss something else. To encourage participation, ask open-ended questions. Reinforce statements that highlight objectives and use examples to encourage the group to think along similar lines. At the end of the meeting, summarize, state conclusions, and outline actions to be taken as a result of the meeting. If someone has been assigned an action, state it as well. Here are 4 guidelines for successful meeting leaders. Leaders of meetings should make the following absolutely clear to all employees no matter the level. 1. Nothing you say in this meeting will be held against you. 2. No one has all or even most of the answers. 3. No one, especially the meeting leader, will be spotlighted as a star in the meeting. And 4. No one has predetermined what should be said or decided in the meeting. Shrewd meeting leadership begins before the call to order. 1. Very natural and comfortably, the meeting leader presses a few palms, pats a few backs, and exchanges pleasantries with each meeting participant as he or she enters the room. 2. Call to order is a gavel, tapping of a glass or cup, or a simple clearing of the throat. 3. A good leader, as mentioned earlier, will have issued an agenda prior to the official scheduled meeting. And 4. The meeting leader keeps open remarks very short. After a cordial welcome and clear statement regarding the purpose of the meeting, the leader calls for reports or goes to the first item of business. Tips to being a good meeting leader. Let the other members of the group give feedback. When someone speaks up, they are seeking support for their idea or suggestion. So, let the group give or deny approval. The meeting leader, knowing the expertise at the table, may request a response from another member of the group. You may already know that 2 people have agreed in the past. You may become an invisible leader. 2. Educate your people on meeting skills. Train them by discussing which meeting habits work and which don't. Use good books or films about meetings to stress your point. Action plans. It is imperative that the meeting ends with the creation of an action plan stemming from the purpose of the meeting. Contents of the action plan. Set out what is to be accomplished, by whom, and when, and how it is going to be accomplished. Finally, follow-up. This action plan could be included in the minutes or a separate memo and can be issued to all members of the meeting. Here's where good writing skills come into play. See Module 10 for details on how to write power messages.